we used to go on all the youth kid groups would go on Hafganot against England. At that time, England was in charge of Palestine. That was before the Medina, before 1948, when Ben Gurion announced the Medina. And there was a very important Reform Rabbi Silver, who was very strong and powerful Zionist, and he belonged to the Reform movement, and he was a leader for many organizations that were Zionist. He was not religious, the Reform are not religious, but he was a big Zionist, Rabbi Silver. Every time there was a big a Hafganah, everybody went out with flags, not flags, with signs against England. Our house was complete Zionist, and my mother, Sbtã חייה, went to Palestine to see her father, who came from Russia in 1937, I think. She took with her...
Moshe Mordechai?
Huh?
That was Moshe Mordechai that came in.
No, yeah, her father, Moshe Mordechai, was able to get out of Russia. That was a time when nobody could get out. And in order for him to get a visa, a passport, to get out of Russia, he was an older man, he had to get the signature from the president of Russia, Kalinin. It was called Kalinin. It was before Stalin. And he gave permission to my grandfather to leave Russia, because they didn't let the Jews go leave. But in view of the fact that there must have been a lot of pressure, and my grandfather was an old man, they let him go out. He was able to get out of Russia. And he came to Palestine, straight to Ramat Gan, to my uncle Dov. My grandmother had 15 children, I think. Some of them lived, some of them didn't live very long. Then there was one young boy of 14 called Avraham, and he was very smart, and he died at an age of 14, about 14, and because he drowned in the river. There was a river by the town, and my grandfather would take him to swim in the river. It was very important. I don't know why they think it was so important. And then there was a lot of undercurrents, and he drowned. And that was my mother's biggest tragedy. My mother took it very hard. That all the years afterwards, when she would take us to the beach or to the yam, she would sit by the shore and count the heads. That she didn't go into the water when the children were in the water, because she was watching to be sure that nobody drowned. And he was very brilliant he was an Ilui, and he was very smart, and he knew Russian language. And I want to say that my mother was very, very learned. She was the daughter of a Rav, and yet she went to gymnasia. That was something, because it cost a lot of money to go to school in those days. But she wanted to know everything, and my grandfather was ready to pay so she should learn and go in a regular gymnasia. She didn't go, since my grandfather was a Lubavitcher, but they were not Haredi. They were Hasidim, and they were not Haredim, and she went to gymnasia that's a regular high school, and then she helped her sisters also to go to a regular school. That's the big thing. When you tell this to somebody, that the daughter of the Rav went to study mathematics and to study literature, and as if she was as if she was the daughter of a regular person. They don't believe it because it was not Makubal. The Haredim didn't teach their children anything, the girls anything. My grandfather knew mathematics. He was very smart, and he was very open. He wasn't Haredi, he was very open. And he was Lubavitcher. He was head of the yeshiva, of Lubavitcher Yeshiva in Portugal. And that's how my father came to Portugal, came to the yeshiva, and that's how he met my mother. What else I have to tell you? That
After
I
high school.
also learned how to play piano.
Yeah.
That we had neighbors who had a piano. They wanted to sell the piano, and my mother bought it for $100, and we were very poor. My father made very little money. I don't know where she got the money to pay for the piano, and how it came out from the third floor to the second floor. Who carried it, who brought it, I don't know. And I played, but I wasn't the greatest genius in piano. And after 5 years, I gave it up. And then I couldn't go to Hebrew school and play. I didn't have enough time for both Hebrew school and piano, because you had to practice at least 2 or 3 hours a day.
How old were you when you started playing piano?
I don't know, I was maybe 10 years old or whatever. So. And when I was about 10 years old, the school gave a special privilege to anybody who wanted to go to the concerts in Chicago. Chicago was very well known for the Chicago Symphony Orchestra Hall. It was a great symphony in Chicago, and they provided a subsidy for anybody who wanted to study. So I had tickets. My mother got tickets for me and for her, and it would take about an hour and a half to get downtown. I would have to leave school to go downtown to the concert hall and come back. So I had an early what can I say,
חשיפה.
a chance of, at an early age to know what's good, wonderful music. It was in the Chicago Symphony Orchestra Hall. It was 6 floors, and you had to walk up 6 floors to get to the top, to the cheapest places, seats. And I was very, very proud. It was for children's concerts, and it was a wonderful opportunity for me. What else can I tell you? That we spoke Ashkenazis. You know what that is?
Yeah.
And after my mother went to after my grandfather arrived in Palestine in 1937 or 38, they learned Hebrew with a Sephardi accent. And they came back, my mother came back with Yehuda. She took Yehuda. He was the youngest of the children. She took him with her, and they came back speaking Sephardic, not Ashkenazis. My teachers must have spoken Ashkenazis, and we began to speak Hebrew Sfaradit. My father also knew Hebrew, and he was a yeshiva boy, and yet he knew Hebrew very well. And sometimes I'll find something that he wrote, you see. His handwriting was wonderful. And he and my mother organized a Hebrew-speaking group in Chicago. Our whole life was influenced by what happened in Israel, because we had my mother's brother, two brothers and sister were in Eretz Israel at that time. Dov, the oldest of his children, of Moshe Mordechai's children, lived in Ramat Gan. Rivka lived in Ramat Gan. And my uncle Tzvi lived in, he was the Chaklai, he was in Beirut, and he didn't make a living. In those times there was no work. There was no work for them. So they worked in the Pardesim, in the picking oranges or working on the kvish, on the roads. My aunt Rivka was very smart in mathematics, and she went to the University of Moscow, in Moscow, and she was at that time engaged to a very nice young man from the town, but somehow or other somebody else, let's put it didn't work out, let's put it that way. It didn't work out. She was a beautiful woman, beautiful girl, and very smart, and strong Zionists. They were all very strong Zionists. Remember, we're talking about a family, very religious, but not Haredi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's enough for now.